Coming at you live from the Sapphic Mansion front porch studio, this is Reverend Nadine Morsch, Interfaith Minister.
And like dreams in a dyke house, this is KT Sunshine.
And us freaks gotta stick together. In a strange and interesting turn of events, the Epstein Files. You remember those, right, KT?
I do remember people talking about them, yeah.
Yeah, they never existed.
Oh, that doesn't seem right.
No, that doesn't seem right, does it?
No, I'm pretty sure they were very important and incriminated a lot of people.
Yeah, they were on Pat Bondi's desk like 2 to 3 weeks ago.
Pam Bondi? Yeah, I think she said that we're getting to the bottom of this. These are on my desk. We're any day now.
And now, they never happened.
No, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah,
that doesn't seem right.
It seems so wrong that even people inside of MAGA are rightfully like, what the actual fuck is this?
Hey, this was the whole reason I was here for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also,
those guys are going to start peeling off.
Who did Ghislaine Maxwell traffic teenage girls to?
Oh, what's the thing where they always talk about the people who did it, but not the why they did it, and the the systematic process of it?
Yeah.
They never talk about the customer. They always talk about the seller.
Yep. There's an interesting rhyme there as well with how we deal with like immigration labor. That like people always talk about like quote unquote illegal immigrants taking jobs, but they never turn their focus to the employers that are employing people illegally.
Every fucking time.
Yeah.
At most, they'll get a fine, a slap on the wrist.
Yep. Yeah, you got to share the cut of the profits that you're making by doing this illegal thing with us, but we're not going to.
That's exactly what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
right.
That's exactly what.
We're not going to hold you accountable. We don't think this is actually wrong. We just want our cut of your illegal business.
Right, and we're going to say it's wrong, but through our actions, we'll demonstrate otherwise.
Also, it's not lost on me that hundreds and hundreds of powerful, wealthy men abuse teenage girls, and the only person in jail for it is a woman. But misogyny isn't real.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a thing that Trump is trying to bury, of course, down to the administration has sent notices to different media outlets and influencers saying you better stop talking about this or you're going to lose access to the regime.
The White House press briefing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, that has a real chilling effect on media, and our media is already so captured. I mean, CBS capitulated that lawsuit that they had a few years ago, the defamation case. Trump got into presidency, and they settled. Back to you.
Back to me? Fuck, back to me.
Oh, fuck, you don't know.
Where were we? Where were we in that?
Well, they just threw Ghislaine Maxwell.
So
they just threw Ghislaine Maxwell under the bus.
If you think about it, this is how I remember how to pronounce her name. Ghislaine, because of all the essay.
Oh, that's gross.
I know. I'm sorry.
I don't like that.
No, but
I will not ever be able to unremember it.
That is how I remember how to pronounce that person's name.
That is scarring, fam.
This is why we need a content warning.
Jeez. Okay, well, for the record, though, I'm not saying we don't need content warnings. I'm just saying that, like, this is an audio show.
Right.
It comes up after the logo, which plays for the whole thing. It's like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And
we have.
I'm also not good at words.
In the description as well. We don't, dear listener, we don't want to unduly trigger you without some fair warning.
Right.
That's mean.
Definitely we need to look out for people. Mm-hmm. But I think saying that...
Freak awareness. Gotta have some freak awareness.
I think saying that a thing happened and saying how it happened also really makes a big difference.
Yeah. We try not to get into the grisly details here. If anyone feels so inclined to go find out for themselves, then good. We are happy that we encouraged you to go.
Well, you should
do further research.
Like, if it's not going to seriously fuck you up, you should go check it out. Find out what the fuck we're talking about and check our facts.
Yep.
I mean, it's so easy to just sit here for an hour and, like, maybe get one fact wrong, maybe misspeak, you know? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I may not catch it in the editing. Okay, so we're getting back to Ghislaine Maxwell.
You're never going to say it wrong again.
I can never unhear it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, it's really messed up that Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison because of something that now the administration is saying never existed. And again,
I mean, she belongs in prison. Mm-hmm. She's a fucking monster.
Yep.
It's just they were happy to throw her under the bus.
Yep.
I mean, they had Jeffrey Epstein too, and he, I'm doing finger quotes here, unalived himself, which, I mean, also, there's a whole thing about the footage this week. I don't know if you saw that. They released the footage from Epstein's cell, but it's clearly edited.
Uh-huh.
There's up to a minute missing.
Yep.
Sources are saying.
Yep.
And so, like, I'm not falling for that shit.
I actually have an air freshener with a picture of Jeffrey Epstein on it that says, "This air freshener didn't hang itself."
Oh, that's good.
It didn't.
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing I think that is, like, the most ghoulish about this is that they went from, we're working on it, we're going to release it, we promised to release it, it's on Pam Bondi's desk, to, it's going to hurt too many people, so we're not going to release it. And, like, you could have stopped there and stayed in the realm of reality with the rest of us. But they had to go one step further with they never existed at all.
Yeah, nobody would have accepted that. But also, this is even crazier. You've been talking about it for, what, at least 5 years?
Yeah.
Longer than that?
Yeah.
Y'all hype this shit up so much. I mean, half of QAnon was partly about this.
Yep.
I don't think that something as core to the identity of a MAGA person could separate this from this too much.
Well,
I think some, sure, but, like, how many?
Right, and that's where we get into, like, you know, is MAGA a cult? Well, one thing that cults really like to do is to tell you that real things are not real, and to believe them and not your own eyes and ears and not your own memory.
Gaslighting.
Yeah. And it's gross, and we're not here for it, and a bunch of MAGA isn't here for it either, which I think is interesting and good news.
Yeah.
For every person, the thing that wakes you up to the fact that you're in a cult will be different. So, like, for example, my mom was in the cult for a little while, but my mom is Ukrainian. So when Trump came for Ukraine, she was like, hey, hold up. You came for my nationalism. That nationalism is load-bearing.
Yeah.
That's not going anywhere.
Yo.
But then a bunch of Ukrainians around her were like, yeah, fuck Ukraine. And my mom was like, what the fuck is happening? And I was like, well, that's what a cult is, Mom. It slowly steals every part of your identity until all that's left is the cult. So we all know that the Epstein Files stuff is messed up. Any person with even a little bit of discernment and even a little bit of critical thinking can smell that something is rotten in the state of Washington, D.C., right?
Yeah. The district, not a state. They still won't acknowledge. They won't allow Washington to get statehood.
Yeah, no.
Even though the people there want it.
No taxation without representation unless you live in D.C., in which case you can fuck yourself, right? Yeah, exactly. So this is actually mid-recording breaking news. While we had session 1 of recording, and between then and sitting down for session 2 of recording the same day, our tweeter-in-chief released a tirade, just a very, very, very long post about now the Epstein Files were created by the Democrats, including Hillary Clinton and Comey and every other
everybody he doesn't like.
Yeah, everyone he doesn't like. Every Democratic politician whose name has become a trigger word to get people in red hats to foam at the mouth.
Should I read a little bit of it?
Yeah. Oh my God, yes. But you have to do a voice.
Okay. 7/12/25, 5:21 p.m. What's going on with my boys, and in some cases, gals? They're all going after Attorney General Pam Bondi, who is doing a fantastic job. We're on one team, MAGA, and I don't like what's happening. We have a perfect administration, the talk of the world, and selfish people are trying to hurt it. All over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, it's Epstein, over and over and over again. We are giving publicity to files written by Obama, Crooked Hillary, Comey, Briannon, and the loser criminals of the Biden administration, who conned the world with Russia hoax, 51 intelligence agents, the laptop from hell, and more. They created the Epstein Files just like they created the Hillary Clinton Christopher Steele dossier that they used on me. And now my so-called friends are playing right into their hands. Why don't the radical left lunatics release the Epstein Files? If there were anything in them that could have hurt the MAGA movement, why didn't they use it? They haven't given up on JFK or Martin Luther King Jr. files, no matter how many successes we had, securing the border, deporting criminals, fixing the economy, energy dominance, safer world where Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. And it's never enough for some people. We were about to achieve more in 6 months than any administration has achieved in history, and in over 100 years, and we have more to do. Sorry, I gotta catch my breath there for a second.
I feel like we get the idea.
He goes on for a while.
He does. It's a very unhinged.
Okay, hold on. I do.
Very long post.
We're saving our country and making America great again, which will continue to be our complete priority. The left is imploding. Kash Patel, the FBI, must be focused on investigating voter fraud, political corruption, Act Blue, rigged, and the stolen elections of 2020, arresting thugs and criminals instead of spending month after month looking for nothing but the same old radical left-inspired documents on Jeffrey Epstein. Let Pam Bondi do her job. She's great. The 2020 election was rigged and stolen, and they tried to do the same with 24. That's what she's looking into as AG, and much more. 1 year ago, our country was dead, and now it's the hottest country anywhere in the world. Let's keep it that way and not waste energy and time. Sorry, I gotta click to the next page. Time away and waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody nobody cares about. Thank you for your attention in this matter.
Oh my!
That's a lot.
My goodness,
there are so many things in that.
I think the asshole.
Also, if the radical left had the files, why did they say they had the files?
Yeah, I think the asshole doth protest too much.
Right, and if the air quotes, I'm doing very generous air quotes here, radical left had the Epstein files, wouldn't they have already released them? I mean, this nebulous radical left, if I had the fucking Epstein files, like, they would be out fucking tomorrow. Yeah. I don't know how to post that shit, but I'd figure that shit the fuck out.
Yeah. I mean, right, like, there are definitely organizations that if they had gotten their hands on the Epstein files, they would be released.
Look, and if Anonymous had them, they'd be everywhere.
That's one of the organizations I was thinking of, absolutely. Yeah, what's interesting is with the cult of Trump, you have this labeling of quote-unquote radical left that it, is really not radical left. It's a lot of the same people that you and I were talking about.
They don't know what that means. They just, it's nebulous. And anybody that, opposes them in any way, even, however lib they are, they just say they're the radical left.
But that's what I'm saying is, there are people that are, absolutely statists that believe in this system and think maybe it needs some reform, but otherwise it's fine and it's doing great.
Fucking liberals.
Yeah, liberals, right. So when Trump says radical left, he really means liberals.
Yeah, because he doesn't really know what the real left is.
Right. It's Peter Kropotkin and Emma Goldman are entirely outside of his sphere of understanding.
He's never even heard the names, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, that's interesting because, liberals are the reason that the radical left gets no traction.
Yeah. They infiltrate our movements and then stonewall them. It's a political ratchet, like I say all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yep, all of that. So that's wild. So we went from they're on our desk, we're releasing the Epstein Files, we have them, and then now they never existed first, and now they were made up by the Democrats.
Yeah. And some of those are in the span of 1 week. I don't know if I would call this flip-flopping as more as I would call it like you ever seen an alligator do a death roll? It's just like...
Yeah, and that's, and it's sort of like a test of, are you going to believe your lying eyes or me, the arbiter of all truth and goodness and justice in the universe, according to me.
Well, that sounds like a cult, doesn't it?
Sounds like it could be a fucking cult, KT.
It could be.
Yeah.
Could be a cult.
Could just be.
Okay, so well, that's our latest breaking news on the Jeffrey Epstein files.
So next up on our news roundup, there has been a lot of resistance to ICE raids, which makes sense if you think about it, because like if you know that like there's a chance that you're going to be human trafficked to a torture prison in a country that you're not from,
right?
Then like why wouldn't you resist?
Also, one, people don't necessarily know that these are ICE agents, and they could just be human trafficking gangs dressed up as ICE agents.
Yep.
But they could equally be ICE agents who were trafficking people themselves. Like, it's bad both ways you look at it. If somebody comes up to you in a mask and tries to pull you off the street, fight for your fucking life.
Yeah, because you don't know if that person is legitimate. And in fact...
And even if they were legitimate, that's still bad.
Yeah, but in fact, the number of instances in which someone has impersonated an ICE officer to, like, do harm to people...
there are already reports of that.
Yeah, that number is not zero, fam.
It's alarmingly rising.
Yeah, so obviously, if you're about to get human trafficked, you fight for your life. So we have instances of people pelting ICE cars with rocks and bricks. We have a murder. There was a raid in California where 200 people were arrested and one of the farm workers was killed by ICE agents. There were also citizens among those workers that were not released until they were coerced to delete the footage of the raid that they had on their personal devices.
Because everything went above board. That's the only reason you would do that, right?
Oh, yeah.
You don't need the footage. It was all good.
Why would you need a footage of ICE agents murdering a dude?
Right.
Right. And then it's like, I've also heard, I don't know how true this is, but, one likes to hope. That morale among ICE agents is very low.
I have read some reports of that. If your morale is that low, you can quit.
Yeah,
just quit.
You can quit, fam.
You don't need this job. Go find another job.
You can come back to the workers and fight for all of our liberation.
Right. But even if you don't believe in that, like, hey man, you could do better.
Yeah.
Like you're a middle-aged white man. You could have any job you want. Just come back.
Maybe you signed up to round up gang members, but now you're being told that you have to round up gardeners and construction workers and restaurant workers and other people that our economy relies on that, like, make our country run. And if that's not sitting right with you, if you have low morale, then, like, you can get out. And also, you could not join up. They're going to be trying to increase ICE's numbers. That was one of the things that was in the billionaire bullshit bill. It was a very... It actually makes ICE the third largest standing army in the world.
It's bigger than Russia's fighting army in Ukraine right now.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they want it to be. The budget is that big.
Right. That's what they want it to be.
$130 billion more dollars. So they now have $170 billion to come into your neighborhood and take your neighbors.
Yep.
And, if they come for you in the morning, if they come for us in the morning, they'll come for you at night.
Yep. As they always do. Purity states eat themselves. They run out of the original impurity. on some level. And we've seen this happen like every time that anyone's ever performed any kind of genocide, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get through the people that you initially demonized, and then you have to demonize a new group, and then you have to demonize a new group, because you made
slowly
this
grows and grows.
You made this Gestapo, this standing army, and now you have to give them something to do, which is to continually, quote unquote, purify your country until like nobody's left.
Yeah,
which is what that
you've built an
poem-
engine, and you've got to feed it.
Yep, which is what that poem is about. First, they came for the socialists. So, in addition to the ice raid resistance that we talked about already, 10 people were also arrested for resisting ICE, and there was a shootout, is that right?
Yeah, that's what I heard. So, sources say that one guy wielding 2 AR-style rifles shot a guy in the neck and in the legs, an officer. But both of the officers were released the same day for their wounds, so not that bad. But yeah, 10 people tried to raid an ICE facility with guns.
Viva la resistance.
Yeah, right on.
I believe all those people are currently in custody, though.
Yes, they are all in custody. I don't think anybody died, and I don't think they achieved their goal at all, but they did get all arrested, and they did shoot a cop, even though that he was fine. Mm-hmm. You know, so
Yeah.
I don't know that they accomplished much, but the spirit of it is really admirable.
Yeah, I mean, I think accomplishing something even in just, having any kind of resistance to this and sort of empowering other people to resist however and wherever they can.
Well,
Yeah.
and they say that ICE morale is low. It's down. This is the kind of shit that gets morale low for them.
Right. I mean, you're reviled and hated if you're an ICE agent. You're literally
Yeah.
the American Gestapo, and anyone with any amount of discernment knows that.
Well, so they're already reviled. They're already hated. The one thing that they have is that they can just abuse people, and they love to do that. But as soon as people punch back, they're bullies. They don't like it when people fight back. It terrifies them.
Yeah, it's really interesting how much structural violence people have accepted. Denying healthcare is violence. Denying housing is violence. Poisoning our food and our air and our water is violence. Like, there is violence perpetuated against the working class every day, all the time.
The whole of humanity.
Yeah, our self-defense is always considered violent, according to the state.
Or terrorist.
Yep. So ICE sucks. ICE is the American Gestapo, most importantly. And in addition to disappearing our immigrant neighbors, they are also disappearing trans people.
Yeah, okay, so the thing here is they have been deleting records of trans people in their custody. Don't know how many now. As far as we know, they're doing this for anybody they take in the future. So they don't have records in the past. They won't have records in the future. Why would you do that? Well, if you want to make those people disappear, because effectively that's what you've done.
Yeah.
So what does this mean? So far this is immigrants, as far as we know, but like if there are no records, how do we know they're not just taking trans citizens?
Yeah.
Or will, or plan to.
Yeah, we know that citizens have been on the chopping block, and the regime has been very clear that anyone who, quote unquote, disrupts ICE activity in any way will be prosecuted and maybe also disappeared. Like,
Well, he says he can just strip your citizenship now?
oh yeah, he's going to do that to Rosie O'Donnell.
Well, we'll see if he actually does, but yeah,
but
he
she
thinks
moved to
that-
Ireland, so she's safe.
Yeah, I mean, the Irish are pretty cool.
But yeah, no. Now we're stripping citizenship from people that criticize you.
Right, and it's never just a joke. It may start out as a joke, but then as soon as he doesn't get enough pushback, it becomes a thing he does.
And that's a pattern. That's
We've
very
seen
observable.
it over and over and over and over again with Trump.
Yeah. So that's gross and scary. It also, anyone who at this point is saying like, "Oh, you're overreacting," or "Oh, you're catastrophizing," is not paying attention, not informed. A, probably hasn't studied history. B, but C, it really does feel like just straight up gaslighting at this point.
Well, from the MAGA crowd, it's either gaslighting or they're openly, yeah, this is what we're doing. We're coming for you next.
Yeah.
And it just depends on which one of you interact with.
The genteel ones and the mask off ones.
Yeah.
But, oh, that reminds me of a meme, actually. It was like, when we talk about Germans that joined the Nazi Party, not because they hated Jews, but maybe because they wanted their cultural heritage preserved, or they were worried about the economy, or, any other reason, right?
Kitchen table reasons.
We don't have a different word for those people. They're just fucking Nazis.
Yeah.
Once you sign up to that, you've signed up to everything that includes. All of the actions and all of the consequences of that are on your head.
Which is what I say to those people who say they're socially liberal, financially conservative.
Oh, I saw a good one for this. It was, I don't want you to die because you're queer. I want you to die because you're homeless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't even recognize the reasons why you would be homeless in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, they're not... They're so intellectually lazy, they won't think out the logical conclusion of what they're saying. Or they're trying to disguise it so that we don't outright hate them.
Yep. Yeah, basically. Yeah, either you understand what's going on and you've fully endorsed it, or you're lying to yourself and the rest of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yuck. Gross. We hate all of that.
Yeah, it's not my favorite. Check out Erin in the Morning. I don't know if you're reading her Substack. She does trans news. Check that out. She is a very good journalist. We've talked about her in the past. She's married to, what's her name in the Idaho Senate? It was Zoe Zephyr.
So, in more ICE-related news, alligator Auschwitz has flooded. Gee, who saw that coming? Only everyone that understands a fucking swamp.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't build things in a swamp because you want them to be dry.
Yeah, if people haven't died yet, they're going to.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah. Yeah, what's really, terrifying to me about it is, not only do you have people defending this concentration camp, but you have people cheering it on. You have people that are laughing about it.
You can buy merch.
Which
also, there's an Etsy boycott going on. You should be aware. People are not buying or selling on Etsy until they make them take that shit down. Until they're not selling Alligator Auschwitz or Alligator Alcatraz merch on Etsy anymore.
Yeah. One of my Jewish friends said, "Oh, there's a huge difference between Hitler's concentration camps and Donald Trump's concentration camps. Hitler's concentration camps didn't have merch."
Whew. But
Yeah.
I'm bumped. Man, that's dark. That's fucking dark.
Oof. Yeah, dark humor is where it's at, fam. And for more tips to stay sane in these trying times, we will have a little self-care roundup at the end of the episode.
Coming up next from the Sapphic Mansion Garden Studios.
Yeah. It's a little windy, but it is a lot cooler than our previous studio, which is too hot to be inhabited during the summer.
Okay, well, so here's my hope. That we're going to pick up a lot of birds, and that we're going to pick up the breeze. And if it rains, we'll pick up the sound of the rain. And all these nature sounds will be very relaxing if they come off right in the recording.
Well, that would be lovely.
I know Rhea just wants to edit them all out, so it's just plain audio. But if we had room noise, but this really kind of beautiful garden room noise, I think it would add to the podcast.
Sure, I don't disagree. You know me, I love nature.
Right? It's comforting.
Yeah, it is.
And you want to hear comforting shit while you talk about awful things. Also, I don't know, maybe if we added recordings of birds, just in the background, that'd be cool too. If we didn't have enough birds in real life.
Well,
we could pad out the birds a little bit. Lean into the nature aspect.
AI birds.
No, not AI, just recordings.
We'll mix in our bird sounds naturally.
What is it? Free-range bird sounds.
Yes, that's
We're
beautiful.
going to ethically source our bird sounds.
So nature can be very relaxing, except for if you were in Texas last week.
Oh, no, nature was fucking scary in Texas last week, down in the hill country at the Camp Mystic. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, we have so far, I think the body count is 80 people have died. The river rose 26 feet in like
just minutes.
Minutes, yeah. And of course, you know, the state was warned hours before by NOAA, and they did not pass that warning on to their citizens. They did not create evacuation alerts or anything.
People didn't know it was coming.
Yeah.
And they were just caught flat-footed.
And
also, we have flash floods in Texas. Being in Dallas, that's most of what we get is just a flash flood, and then that's our rain for a while. But these are not those flash floods. These are not survivable flash floods.
Yeah, and I mean, we know that climate change is driving this really extreme weather. We also know that we had a lot of really great warning systems in place to get people to shelter or evacuate areas that were going to be affected by extreme weather. But this regime gutted NOAA. So now we're working with a lot less information, which gives us a lot less accuracy.
Well, and they want to charge for that information, too.
Oh, my God.
It won't be as good, and you'll have to pay for it. Or what? You might get swept away in a flood. You have no idea.
Or a tornado.
Yeah,
or an earthquake.
Like a hurricane.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, I mean, well, that's... You know, capitalism is out of things to enclose, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't know about the enclosures, that's a really good thing to look up. It was the start of capitalism when the public land that was used for everybody's use was made private, and you couldn't live off that land anymore.
Right. And so they always say that it's because of the tragedy of the commons, which states that, you know, the more people use a land, the more it gets overgrazed or degraded over time. So the solution to that for them was just to give it to like one guy, and that person just mercilessly exploits that for all the profit that it can generate. And that's okay. That's good stewardship and not degradation of the land. Whereas before that, farmers, people, peasants would just meet about once a month and talk about the pasture lands or the common land and the health of it and maintain it. It's some 17th century psyop shit.
Yeah. So you know, they enclosed all of the land that they could, and then they enclosed a bunch of markets, especially natural resource markets, which we talked about in the last episode about, you know, different countries trying to nationalize their resources and having America come in and be like, just kidding, you're going to play our capitalism game with us, and we're going to exploit your resources, and you're not going to see a penny of it. So because capitalism is running out of land and natural resources to enclose, they're going to start enclosing whatever information they can and putting paywalls on it, because that's the only way to continue exponential growth inside of a closed system.
Right. It relies on frontiers. And so it's just going to close every single one there is.
Yeah.
The internet frontier, the media frontier, the old television frontier, all of them, radio. We've just gone through this process over and over again for the last several hundred years. Yeah,
the goal is to monetize every single thing that is free or low cost.
Yeah. It's all transactional relationship all the way down.
Okay, so that was all terrible, but of course Texas got help because they voted for Trump, right?
I don't think they did. I think not Pam Bondi.
Kristi
Noem.
Yeah.
Who's head of FEMA and also ICE. That seems contradictory. But true. She just sat on her hands for 72 hours while people were dealing with the floods and the aftermath and looking for people. Like, Camp Mystic was a girls' camp. A lot of those girls are still missing.
Yep.
There are tons of people who are still missing from these floods. Yep. And FEMA's only now helping?
Oh, yeah, but Mexico sent help almost immediately.
They sent a bunch of firefighters, which is what they do every fucking time a horrible thing happens in this country. The fires in LA, Mexican firefighters were there. They fought just right along those convict firefighters. Fucking earthquakes. When there's earthquakes in California or elsewhere. When there's drought in Texas. We get a lot of fires now. We didn't used to. But, like, they always send people to help us.
Yep.
Always.
It's heartening.
They were there for 9/11.
Yeah, it's heartening to know that even as terrible as our government is to our neighbors, that our neighbors still see us as citizens as separate from our government and are still willing to send aid to help us in times of need. Because they could easily be like, hey, you've been really terrible to us and you can go fuck yourselves.
Yeah.
And that would not be unreasonable.
Firefighters, rescue workers from all over Central America and South America, and the Canadians, they come out and they have solidarity with us average people, no matter what terrible shit our government is doing to them. It's radical solidarity.
Yeah. And that's also the kind of thing, you know, that you can maybe take some comfort in and take some hope away from, is that we have the capacity to have incredible solidarity with each other and with our neighbors on our own as individuals and as communities.
Compassion and empathy carry the day.
Yep. And they always do, because mutual aid is a factor in evolution.
Yeah.
Yep. So that is terrible, and you know, our hearts are with the people who lost loved ones. Even if you are someone that voted for this, that's still sad.
I mean, you're still a human being.
Yeah, you're
even
still
if
a
you're
human
piece of
being.
shit.
Yeah, and also, you know, all those Girl Scouts, those little girls at Camp Mystic, did not vote for this.
Right, they didn't do anything to anybody.
No, and it's very sad that, you know, this could have been avoided or mitigated and in so many different ways, you know, in addressing climate change, in correctly funding NOAA, in correctly funding FEMA. Like, there were so many different ways that our government could have helped and supported this community and just left them high and dry instead.
Which is just going to be more and more common in
Yeah.
these next few years.
Yeah.
They've been defunding FEMA across the board. The southern states and the red states are always the worst hit.
Yep.
And fucking the governor of Arkansas after the tornadoes last year, which just, well, not last year, a few months ago, it was just begging the Trump administration for aid, and Trump didn't give a fuck.
No, this regime will use you if you're useful, and do not expect any loyalty or any consideration or any quote-unquote solidarity from this regime or the people in it. They demand your unwavering loyalty no matter how badly they treat you.
Yep.
Just like any other narcissist.
Yeah.
And as soon as you say this is a problem or I need something, then you're the problem.
Yep. So, 4 1 in 1,000 year floods in 1 week. I think these climate change chickens are coming home to roost.
Whew, yeah.
Yeah.
That does definitely seem to be the case, which is great when we're divesting from renewable energy and reinvesting in fossil fuel at the exact same time that all the rest of this is happening.
And cutting all the weather warning and service and stuff like that.
And cutting FEMA funding pretty drastically and misappropriating those funds to other things.
It seems like FEMA is becoming an arm of ICE, which a lot of right-wing people 20 years ago were all up in arms about, you know, FEMA camps and shit like that. And now it's actually happening under the people that they voted in, and they're fine with it.
Yeah. FEMA camps, well, if they're for brown people, I'm fine with that, is basically
Yeah.
the resounding answer on the right, which is disgusting. Really unfortunate. And then I know we had said earlier that, you know, there was a hiccup in the warning system, and part of that is definitely due to the gutting of NOAA. They just don't have as many resources as they used to for this kind of prediction. However, there were people in Texas sounding the alarm and saying, like, we need to get out a code red to
the
people.
volunteer firefighter, he called in and he was like, hey, we gotta announce a code red here for people to get to higher ground. And they stonewalled him and said, hey, we've got to talk to our supervisors about that. And they didn't issue a warning for another 90 minutes.
Yeah, an hour and a half. And
Yeah.
that, you know, that difference definitely costs lots of lives.
Yeah.
170 people still missing, 80-ish confirmed dead. Probably more than that by the time this comes out. We'll probably all of the missing
Yeah.
people are probably...
We'll find out what happened to
Yeah.
them more than likely
Right.
pretty soon. Or they'll be declared whatever.
So that sucks all the way around, and I'm sure there's going to be some big investigation to figure out, you know, what went wrong with the warning system.
I mean,
but, like, we
maybe,
know.
Maybe they won't even. They might not even investigate it. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that the administration, they don't give a fuck about this, one, and it makes them look bad, too, so they may not care.
Right.
to follow through.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Gross and so sad. It's just like, you know, those kids at Camp Mystic didn't deserve this. Like,
No.
they didn't vote for this. And
Okay, well, even if you did vote for this, first off, fuck you. But people who voted for this,
still don't deserve
they don't
it.
deserve this. These
Yeah.
are human beings. This is a tragedy. Yeah. I think we're all very justifiably mad at conservatives. I know I am. And you know what? Fuck them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're still human beings. Like, there's still humanity there. Okay, another thing that really bothers me is when people write off all of Red Country as if it's a monolith.
Right.
A lot of people, you know, look at what's happening in Texas and they're like, leopards eating their face. As if everyone in Texas was fully in support of the administration the whole time, which is not the case.
Right.
I have a ton of friends. I'm from Texas. Did I deserve that? I have a ton of friends still in Texas. Do they deserve any of that?
Right.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's another thing, you know, when we talk about harm reduction, it's partly, you know, with this thing in mind that, like, none of these places are monoliths, and there are people that, like, believe in truth and justice and human dignity that live in all of these places all over the world,
Yes.
not just in America, but in all the countries that are supposedly America's enemies and all of that, you
Right.
know.
At the end of the day, they're all just people.
There's a really good quote that I like from a graphic novel artist that says, you know, I am Iranian and you are American, yet we talk and we understand each other perfectly. There's a great difference between me and my government, and there's a great difference between you and your government. There's not a great difference between us, but our governments are very much the same.
Is this Persepolis?
Yeah.
Oh my
yeah,
god,
the
that's
author of
such
Persepolis.
a good book.
Yeah.
And the movie was really good too.
Yeah. So, no one deserves this, is the point here.
Yeah.
And it's really, you know, it doesn't build community and solidarity to laugh at suffering. All it does is serve to make us more callous, more unfeeling, more willing to write off people as not our people.
It fuels that both sides argument as well, which is a bogus argument, but like it just gives those people ammunition to say, oh, well, look, both sides are bad.
At this, you know, we're all understandably very mad at regressives. You know, I think conservatives is too nice. I think we should begin calling them what they are. It's a regressive regime, right? So, like, you know, we're justifiably angry at the loss of our rights. We're justifiably angry about surveillance states and police states. But try to remember to keep your humanity in spite of that rage. So in other news, Iran disappeared from the news, except to make a threat against Trump, which was that he is not necessarily safe while he sunbathes at Mar-a-Lago with his bare belly exposed to the sun and potentially drones.
I'm going to say that's quite the target.
Yeah, you got some space there.
Reflectiveness.
Yeah. I think that statement in itself is a terrorist attack because it forced us all to imagine Donald Trump's naked belly.
Oh, I don't want to imagine that.
Gross.
Also, like, nobody is safe if Donald Trump sunbathes at Mar-a-Lago.
Also, who thinks Donald Trump sunbathes? You think that tan is real?
No,
Fam.
that is spray on.
It is not a real tan.
Also, he's, air quotes, so rich. Why can't you just get a, like, I don't know, is spray tan always bad? Or is he just bad at it?
I think spray tan is always bad. I've never really seen a good spray tan. It's always orange.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't get it. I mean, it still damages your skin, right?
So it's an interesting flip-flop that happens socially because for a very long time, pale skin was seen as like the beauty thing. And that was because, like, if you were brown or more tan, it was because you were working outside and you were, like, doing, like, farm labor or some other sort of, you know, construction, hard labor sort of situation.
Yeah, paleness was genteel.
Right. So now it's flip-flopped where a lot of people that are, like, office drones or whatever are pale because they're inside working all the time. And it's if you have a bunch of leisure, you can laze around on the beach and perfect your tan. So it's still what's associated with being genteel. It's just the thing that is associated with the genteelness has changed throughout the course of our society's history.
When the rich had it, it was genteel. And then when, working people had the paleness, it wasn't genteel anymore because everybody had it.
Right.
And so now it's you're just flipping around.
Usually those things are all like class signifiers as well. Like, do you have leisure time to F around and do nothing?
Air quotes. Nothing. Yeah.
I can't believe I censored myself just there. Fuck around and do nothing. We're not trying to shield you from the harsh truths of reality, fam.
Or language.
So that was interesting. And it's just like, it's such a strange and unprecedented time to live in where, there are like assassination threats being made on Twitter.
Right.
Like,
and
wow.
Like, just about, like, they're going all directions. I mean, all kinds of people are saying that, nobody's safe over here. No, you're not safe over there, or whatever. I don't know. It's wild. There's so many assassination threats lately. It's, I would say, concerning.
Well, it's concerning because some of them have become assassinations, like in Minnesota.
Well, yeah, but also, like, it's just a climate of everybody could get got any minute.
So, I think this actually relates back to climate change, and it being hotter, in general, everywhere right now.
Heat makes you fucking crazy. It makes you very angry.
One of the first things you learn in a statistics class, is this very famous example of how murders and ice cream sales increase in, correlation to each other. And that's how they teach you that correlation does not imply causation. People aren't murdering people because they ate ice cream. Both things are more prevalent because of the heat.
We both just had ice cream from the ice cream truck, and I feel less inclined to murder.
Yeah, it's true. If you're gonna choose, ice cream is always better than murder, fam. Have some ice cream.
I mean, I don't know, like always. But it is
okay, like
good.
99% of the time. Yes. In other news,
don't murder, please don't.
Yeah, we're not endorsing.
This is an anti-murder podcast.
Yeah, we're not endorsing violence of a non-self-defense nature.
Yeah,
we will always endorse self-defense, and we would not call that violence. But unprovoked violence is bad. Okay.
Yeah, they'll just fucking murder people for no reason. It's fucked up.
Yeah, how are we supposed to have a community if you're going to go murdering people for no reason?
You can't have community if everybody's murdering each other.
That's true. So moving on, the mention of transgendered people had been removed from Stonewall right away.
Right, that was months ago.
But now they've quietly removed reference to bisexuals as well.
So it's just LG.
LG.
So Life's Good. It's just like it's not Samsung. Are they from Korea? Samsung's from Korea.
Yeah. They're just an Android phone now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they made washing machines back in the day.
Yeah.
They had like a home appliance brand. Anywho, okay, so you take the T off. They're just going to come after the other's letters next.
Yeah.
Like, they are coming out for all of us. Their guns are out for the entire LGBT community and then all the other minority groups.
Yeah.
You're not safe.
As we said before, being quote-unquote one of the good ones doesn't mean anything. All that means is that they kill you last.
Well, I mean, fucking, it didn't take them very long to go after the bisexuals, and they sure haven't killed all us transes.
Right.
So, last... maybe how they used to do it, but who knows now?
Well, next.
Yeah.
Next, last. Who's to say what last
They're expanding
will be?
the outgroup.
They always do.
Like we were just talking about.
Yeah, that is the nature of these purification ideologies. They become an Ouroboros. They eat their own tail. You can always find new outgroups to purify.
Right. People talk about there being a circular firing squad on the left. And it's a funny joke that we say sometimes, but like the left isn't actually firing squatting each other. It's the right. We can have disagreements and then we talk about it, maybe yell at people and maybe disassociate, but that's normal. Yeah. The right will just eventually fucking kill you over it.
Yep. Also, I think there really aren't a lot of us that want to live in a white ethno state where you can't get a decent fucking taco.
Jesus, or fucking potato salad. Can you imagine a never-ending picnic of white people and it's just all potato salad and boiled hot dogs? Like, that's fucking hell.
That is actually, I'm sure that's a level of hell. White picnic boiled hot dogs. Blech.
And Ronald Reagan will be there right at the smoker, you know? Mm-hmm. Or the charcoal grill boiling the hot dogs.
I imagined him being roasted on a spit, and that was very satisfying for a moment.
Right, but this is hell.
Right. He's roasting you on a spit.
Right.
Yeah. And also in more queer-related news,
Ronald Reagan is the devil.
Yes. And also in other queer-related news, the Donald Trump Department of Justice has subpoenaed transgender health records from 20 hospitals.
Yeah, this is news that just came out. I haven't seen the list of all the hospitals yet. I wonder if one of the ones I've been in is on that list, and then they would have health records about me. And also, like, this is not going to stop with 20 hospitals. No. And it's not going to stop with minors, you know. We've already seen they're going after everybody.
Right. Yep. Because that's what they do.
If you're a trans person and you have medical records, I want you to further research this story, come to your own conclusion about what you should do about it, and then if you feel so moved, maybe have a conversation with your doctor about your healthcare records and your prescriptions.
Yeah. So, the good news is that's all our bad news. And now we have some good news. I'm sure that's not all the bad news.
Yeah, there's more bad news.
There's
We're
always
just not
more
talking
bad news.
about everything.
With this regime, it's just a Niagara Falls deluge of terribleness.
The fire hose.
The fire hose, yeah. But we do have some good news. There are mask-off bills introduced to regulate ICE being able to hide their faces.
Yeah, in New York and Massachusetts.
Multiple states, yeah. So that's great.
They haven't passed.
No.
They have been proposed.
Right.
So go call your representative. I know people say that, like, voting doesn't matter and calling a representative doesn't matter. They do. They're not the be-all, end-all. This is not the revolution, you know? But, like, it's the bare fucking minimum. Go fucking vote. Go fucking call your representative. Because if they don't get any pushback, they're just going to roll over to the shit. And they may roll over anyway.
Right.
But, like, we got to fight on every single front.
The big thing is, if you have, like, time blindness about it or whatever, like, both, like, voting, as long as you live in a place where voting is, like, supported decently and they haven't, like, closed polling locations to create, like,
right, but if that's the case, it's all the more important.
Right. If they've closed polling places in your area to create artificial long lines, it's because they specifically don't want you voting and want you to give up.
Which is why you got to go early. Go early vote.
Yeah. They wouldn't go through all that trouble if voting did nothing.
Right.
That's the important consideration there.
Like, we don't live in a real democracy. And a lot of that stuff is just illusion. But if it was not important, they would not fight it. They would just ignore it.
In normal situations, it takes like 10 minutes to go vote. It takes 10 minutes to call your rep.
Right. And they're not the be-all, end-all. You absolutely should be doing other things if you have the ability to do it.
Yep.
But if you don't, this is the bare minimum.
Yeah, this is some low impact participation in the current style of government that we have. And that does not mean, like, that participation is not capitulation to the entire system.
Right.
You can participate on the level that you can and still fight for greater change outside of the systems that exist already.
And still do everything you can to push that representative to maybe not supporting Israel, which I know a lot of people right now are listening to this and they're equating supporting your Democratic representative and the support of the genocidal apartheid state of Israel.
Yeah.
But that's not the same thing. We're trying to do harm reduction over, and there's already so much harm.
I was just going to say that there's like a real airplane.
Yeah, airplane.
There's a real airplane. So, the important thing there, of course, is like harm reduction. There is harm reduction in like the addiction world and the mental health world where it's understood that like people have toxic coping skills that they can't put down yet. So, we're going to give people whatever help we can and understand that, like, whatever harm they're additionally doing to themselves will be minimized by the help that they're getting.
Right. It's about the scope of the harm and not the depth of the harm. Like, the harm that we've already done all across the world is so bad. But if we get a Republican power, then the harm we're already done and the harm we're still doing will be increased by the harm we have yet to do. Whereas a Democrat will just kind of stay the course with the harm that we're already doing. And they're both terrible and they both suck. But one is slightly less. And even that slightly less matters to thousands of people, maybe millions.
And that doesn't mean that you capitulate to the things that you disagree with. It just means that you're engaging in harm reduction for the sake of your community and communities that will be adversely impacted by really bad policies and really evil people. Oh, this is an interesting thing. So someone online was like, is it just me or does it seem like the world got significantly more evil in the last 5 years? And then a doctor responded, yeah, so COVID damages your prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for, like, empathy and connection to other people. And a lot of people are on, like, their 4th or 5th COVID infection at this point. So, like, we are potentially seeing, like, society, global brain damage playing out right now.
Yeah, I mean, this could be our generation's equivalent of lead.
Yeah, lead poisoning.
Yeah, the boomers were so lead poisoned. And, I mean...
Which also reduces your ability for empathy and understanding a perspective outside of your own, etc.
Well, and the way it damages your brain makes you more likely to be violent.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why violent crime rates were a lot higher in the past, pre-90s. And we stopped using leaded gasoline in the 90s. And every year since, that level of, it's usually the murder index, has gone down.
Right.
Violent crime has been on the decline since we got off of leaded gasoline in the 90s.
But if you watch state-sponsored news, you would never get that impression.
I mean, there are other factors, too, of course.
Sure, but like, I'm just pointing out that, like, the Republican regime really likes to cry about, like, crime wave and, like, criminals and, like, and
they prey on your fear response.
Yeah, right. They're preying on a fear response, but they're also not acknowledging, like, the very real statistics that, like, all kinds of crime have been on the decline for decades.
Except for money crime, which has been on the rise.
Well, sure, because people are more and more impoverished. Something like 5 or 6.5 maybe $trillion went into the pockets of the wealthiest people, and the bottom 90% lost $5 trillion.
Right. So, but what I'm saying is that $5.6 billion that went into profits for those rich people, a lot of that, even under our current fucked up money laws, was theft. Wage theft is the single largest contributing factor to the bar or the graph of theft in our economy. It dwarfs retail theft, it dwarfs shoplifting, it dwarfs muggings, every other category. Wage theft is the highest, and it's the least dealt with and enforced and prosecuted.
Yeah, so I had a situation at one point where I was working for a very unscrupulous person who would write me paychecks that would bounce. And I was trying to organize my workplace and take action against this person. And at the bank, they would not give me any kind of proof that the check had bounced. Like, they just straight up refused. I was like, well, how am I supposed to bring evidence to, like, the department that handles labor abuse?
That's the neat part. You don't.
That's the neat part. You don't.
Yeah.
Wage theft goes unpunished a lot.
It's often unreported because people just don't think it'll ever matter.
Well,
I've had several companies not pay me.
Sure. And also, there are certain subtle forms of wage theft that people don't even realize, like being asked to work off clock.
Oh my God.
Being asked to not take your breaks.
Or reducing your lunch
right,
breaks.
being told essentially that, like, I worked at a different place where you weren't allowed to take a break unless you were a cigarette smoker. Now I smoke cigarettes because I really wanted to take a break, but that was very illegal.
You're a human being, not a machine.
Yeah, businesses do really illegal stuff like that all the time, and mostly it goes completely unpunished and unreported.
I'd say, listener, it doesn't really matter where you work at now. You can probably relate to this somewhere. This has probably happened to you or somebody you know. That's how high the statistics are on this.
Yep. In other news, good news for New Yorkers. Governor Hochul has announced that community college will be free for returning adult learners. I suspect that this is partly in response to the cuts to Medicaid, because if you're in school, you still qualify for Medicaid.
It's one of the things that satisfies the work requirement.
Yes, exactly. Like you have to be volunteering, employed, or in school 20 hours a week, I believe.
Something like that.
To still qualify for Medicaid, yeah.
Yeah. New York is... I wish they would do more, but they actually do quite a lot to, like, either maliciously comply or resist the Trump regime. I mean, I respect that.
That's why you moved here.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Because they didn't think they would immediately roll over.
Yeah, we New Yorkers are not fond of rolling over under any circumstances. We are way more likely to bite.
Yeah, which, you know,
woof,
good
woof.
on ya.
Woof, woof, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So, in other cool, good news, we wanted to give a shout out to Pedro Pascal.
Oh, fucking love Pedro Pascal. First off, what a dreamboat.
Right.
Second off, what a champion of human rights. He's come out in support. He's come out in statements in support of Palestine. He has come out in support of the trans community time and time again. His sister is trans. Aww. He's got a personal stake in this.
Right.
He's a goddamn fucking human being and has a goddamn heart, even though he's in fucking Hollywood.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I hope that doesn't ever change. I hope we're not listening to this in the future and, like, he's done something terrible. But
that would suck.
I don't think I don't think that's how he is.
So, Pedro Pascal, if you're listening, we love you. Never change. Moving on, we would be remiss to not mention that the topic of our last episode, the big bogus bill, or the billionaire bullshit bill, as I've been calling it, way too late. I feel like the Democrats really should have jumped on that branding.
They renamed it, but I can't remember what it was.
It was the We're All Gonna Die Act.
Oh, well, that's not as catchy,
decent.
but it's still
decent.
pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish they had, maybe
that
done
passed, which really sucks. It's the biggest transfer of wealth from the most impoverished people in this country to the wealthiest people in this country.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to lose their food assistance, and a lot of people are going to lose their health insurance, and that's a health crisis waiting to happen.
I mean, we're already in a health crisis.
Right.
This is just going to, add gasoline to the fire.
Yeah, especially with the closure of, lots and lots and lots of rural hospitals in every single state.
Yeah, you're right. This is rocket fuel on the fire.
Yeah, and red states will be hit the hardest in a sort of leopards eating faces moment again.
They're always hit the hardest by all this bullshit they do.
Yeah, the biggest racket that the oligarchs of this country ever got into that served them the best was convincing workers to simp for them.
Yeah, I mean, when they started controlling all the mass media. Okay, in your town right now, I don't know, you probably haven't watched the local news in years, right? I mean, most of us get our news online these days, or, I don't know, from the fire hose that's aimed directly at us. But it's more likely than not that your local news station is owned by Sinclair Broadcasting, and they have an agenda, and it's a conservative one. I don't know if you've ever seen the Jimmy Kimmel thing. Every so often he does this thing where it's usually around spring. It's the first day of spring or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so he does a compilation of all the different broadcast stations that are reading off basically the same script.
Right.
that are owned by
yeah.
Sinclair, and it's
Right.
just like a wall of these broadcasters all saying the same thing.
It's June. Can you believe it?
It's the first day of summer. Can you believe it?
Can you believe
Yeah.
it? Can you believe it? Yeah, I've seen those compilations.
It's not local news.
They're really spooky.
It is.
It's spooky.
It's spooky.
Yeah. But, normally you wouldn't see it side by side. You're just seeing whatever little arm of Sinclair is
Right.
operating in your town.
And you just think, oh, that's just our weather guy, or our news reporter, not a big deal. You don't think it's happening to like a million other people at the same time.
It's also like a good way to try and like homogenize, a culture, is to make sure that they're all being fed the same media.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that markets are inherently at odds with that because subcultures are like interesting and edgy and popular and then wind up being capitalized on usually with some sort of like fashion or brand or right, whatever that is. So like the culture wants to diversify, but these oligarchs that control the media are trying really hard to like make our media as homogenous as possible.
Are you saying that the market has been captured?
I could be.
But what about the free market?
Oh, what free market?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Never has been.
Yeah. There's a fun saw a good meme about it. It was like how the free market's supposed to work, and it's like I make the best lemonade, and it's like no, I'll make one that's even better, and like how it actually works. And it's like the fat guy with the top hat who's like, I watered down my lemonade to increase my profit margin, and the other guy goes, I used piss.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah.
oh, that's fucking apt.
Yeah.
Like that is an accurate description of the market we find ourselves navigating right now.
They sell us this propaganda that it's everybody making good stuff, but it's you're right, it's piss.
Yeah. There was another good one about the difference between like a clothespin from the 50s and a clothespin today. Like even if you buy the most
I saw
heavy
that.
duty one that you can possibly find, it's still more brittle. It has a thinner and more faulty mechanism to it. It wasn't built to last. It was built to be replaced, because if things last, then nobody needs to buy them anymore. It's actually like a great example of that is like Instapot is filing for bankruptcy. And
Which is funny, didn't we do? We just did a story a few weeks ago on them making a Trump Instapot.
oh, ew.
Yeah, they made a MAGA Instapot.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so one of the things was like Instapot's really well made. So it's not something that like you need to, it's like a once in a decade purchase. So like you can't continue to get the same profit. That's why they tried to like diversify. You can't get the same profit if you like sell something good that like works and doesn't break and doesn't need to be replaced.
There are washing machines and refrigerators from the Soviet Union that are still running today in people's homes. It's bonkers because
Yeah.
they built it based on a different model. Not
Yeah.
simping for the Soviets here. I'm just saying that it's built different.
Planned obsolescence is very much a factor in capitalism because you want
Yeah.
people to have to buy the newest version of your product.
I feel like you could say planned obsolescence is a factor in capitalist evolution.
Yeah, you could. You could, in fact, say that.
Okay, so part of the thing about the clothespin deal is because wood is different than it was 50 years ago. And it's interesting why. All right, buckle up, kids. So, the way that pine used to grow, the rings were denser, it took longer to grow. Which means that if you're harvesting timber on a huge scale, you're going to run out of that good shit at some point, right? So what they did to make the lumber industry go farther so that they could expand their profits more and more and sell more wood, and so that they wouldn't completely deforest the entire country trying to cut all the wood that they wanted to get, they bioengineered species of pine for lumber that grow faster. They grow in more difficult climates, well, which, that's its own thing. But the rings are way wider because they grow a lot faster every year as a ring, right? But because those rings are wider, deeper or whatever, they're not as strong.
Right, the wood is
part
softer.
of the strength comes from those tightly packed rings.
Oh, wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah, so they literally bioengineered a bunch of timber trees to do this job, and then they planted them all over the country. And then, like in my home from East Texas, our major export in East Texas is oil and wood. And so all around where the farm I grew up on is it was all timber for the timber industry wood.
Oh, okay.
The railroad used to come through there to gather all our timber.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, railroads. Would have been so cool if we had maintained those.
Yeah, and they didn't like derail and spill chemicals all over our country now.
Yeah, that would also be really great.
Yeah. There's so that we know about the railroad strike, 2 years ago? Mm-hmm. They still have not resolved any of that shit.
Yeah, no, why would they have?
No, because nobody's making them.
Yeah. Yeah, unions have really been hobbled in this country, and they are making a comeback right now, but...
President Joe motherfucking Biden fucking quashed the railroad strike.
Yep.
Yeah.
Radical leftist my ass.
Right.
My entire ass, not just the left cheek or the right cheek. The entire fucking ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, fam. The radical left wants everyone to have safe and equitable jobs that pay according to their value, and
they want you to have a say in your work too,
Yeah.
and they want you to have peace instead of war, and I
Yep.
don't know, etc. We can go on for a while.
yeah.
Name a
yeah.
thing that you as a human being like want to fill a need for, and that's probably a radical leftist position.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But in particular, though, the radical leftists quashed a union, fam. You are not talking about the
Yeah.
radical left.
You ain't talking
The
about the
radical
left.
left marched with the union and threw Molotovs.
Nope.
That's what happened there.
Yeah, don't confuse liberals for the left. It's not the left.
Well, folks, as we promised you last week, we'd like to take some time today to talk to you about self-care.
Yeah, self-care.
Yeah, for some people, self-care is remembering to smoke weed every day. And here's the thing. There's a lot of stigma around smoking weed. And I have my own misgivings about it because I do think it makes us more docile. And I think that might be one of the reasons that it's being, decriminalized and made legal in certain places.
There's definitely probably a conspiracy theory element to that. You know what I mean?
Sure. It sounds right. Who's to say what is really happening there?
Well, know what I mean? Like, like every conspiracy theory has like a grain of truth.
Right.
Like maybe there's like a grain somewhere in that.
Yeah, but there are lots of beautiful and potent plant medicines that can be used to increase wellness and happiness and comfort, and certainly could be used in harm reduction as well.
Well, I mean, like, I know for me personally, it has been such a tool. Like, I don't want to get into it on air, but I have some PTSD. Mm-hmm. And this really helps me to, especially relax anxiety-wise. But it really helps me, unpack shit that I have not been able to unpack, because every time I try, it's like touching a hot brain stove.
Right. Sure.
And this is it turns off the stove for a little bit so I can touch it and kind of work through it some without burning myself.
Yeah. That there's an increased self-awareness that comes with it.
A lot of introspection.
And, for many people, it has the opposite effect on their anxiety. And, if that's you, then just don't have any. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, do something else.
Yeah, do something else.
There's a million other things.
So we're about to run down a list of all the things you could do either instead of smoking weed or in addition to smoking weed. It's really up to you.
Yeah, it's very versatile. Like, it could enhance any of these activities.
Mm-hmm. So there's two different sections here for self-care. One is self-regulation and one is co-regulation. I also want to bring up this really good quote from Brianna Weiss. That's self-care is not salt baths and chocolate cake. Self-care is building a life that you don't regularly need to escape from. And not everyone...
Feel that.
Right, yeah. And, you know, there are certain aspects of this life that we don't really have very much individual power over.
Yeah.
But a few ways to build a more authentic life is like have uncomfortable conversations instead of harboring resentments.
Yeah.
Be honest with you, as honest as you can with yourself and the people around you, including when it comes to like setting expectations or agreeing to obligations. Trying to be really honest instead of being a people pleaser or whatever else might habitually be going on. I saw a really good quote recently that oofed me right in the solar plexus, and it was uncommunicated needs are premeditated resentments.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oof. Yeah, that's one to sit with, right?
Yeah.
So like the I would say the first and most important thing about self-care is to try and build the most authentic life that you possibly can, because then that gives you back a lot of energy that you might spend instead mired in resentment or anger or frustration or not feeling heard or seen.
Coming out to yourself, like, as a queer person, fucking, wow, will that do that?
Yeah, that's rough. It's rough, but it's worth it.
I'm not necessarily saying coming out to other people. I'm saying coming out to yourself.
Yeah, that's
accepting
the first time you come out. The first time you come out is to yourself. Absolutely. Yeah, I was pretty young, and as soon as I knew, I spent many years, I would say maybe about 6 years, doing everything I could to not be perceived as bisexual. I really went out of my way. I mean, like, to the point where I was cast in a play as a guy that had affections for a young girl. And I refused the part because I didn't want to, quote unquote, pretend that I was in love with a girl. Because I was so afraid, you know, that people would see me. That, you know, I would do it too well, and they would be like, "Oh, that bitch is pansexual. I can see it from here," you know, like. So yeah, there were. Yeah, that's for every queer person. The first time that you come out is to yourself, and then hopefully, you know, you pick the right person to come out to next, because that helps a lot. Listener,
you'll figure this out down the road. I mean,
whatever. Or you already have.
Yeah, or you already have.
Right.
I segued us away from our topic. I'm
sorry. Self-care. Two different sections here. Self-regulation and co-regulation. So we'll run through self-regulation first. One of my favorite grounding techniques is the 5-4-3-2-1 technique.
Oh, I've done that. It won't immediately, like, fix, you know, because none of this is going to fix anything, but, like, it does help. I have noticed it in myself.
Yeah. So it's, you name 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste.
Okay. I'm just going to give 1 for each, but I see fireflies. I taste this Fanta. I smell bug spray.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel this lighter. And did I do them all?
I don't know.
I lost count, but I'm pretty sure I did.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Point being.
So another one is mindful breathing. So there's a bunch of different ways to do this. Like a lot of people do box breathing, which is you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds. You breathe out for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds. And that's like a good way of like especially getting your breathing under control if you're like having an anxiety attack or a panic attack. If you're not in crisis, I prefer to do sort of a mindful awareness of my breathing where you don't police your breath. You don't try to make it do anything in particular. You just sort of gently bring your awareness to your breath without modifying your breathing at all. And then every time you notice that your attention has drifted away from your breath, you just sort of gently but persistently bring your attention back to your breath. So I find that one particularly helpful, especially if I'm like getting worked up and I know that I need to calm down to be more rational. Another thing that you can do is a body scan, which is where you bring your attention to different parts of your body, noticing any sensations without judgment. So you can start at your head and move down to your toes, or you can start at your toes and move up to your head. But noticing every different part of yourself to like bring your awareness back into your body.
There's a variant on that where you, and I'm doing it and you can't see it. Maybe you can hear it. Where you tap your body with your
Tapping.
fingers.
Yep.
And you like, start with your head, down, top of your head, down to your eyes, down to your ears, down to your chin, your lips, etc., down your throat, down your torso, down your legs, etc. And it helps bring you back into your body, It helps strengthen that mind-body connection.
Yes, precisely. Another thing that I really love to do is to be in nature. Parks, even just walking around my neighborhood and noticing all of the different plants that people have, noticing, people's decorations. We love to go swimming, and being barefoot in grass or on sand is a particularly grounding thing to do.
I especially love to be barefoot in grass, like soft grass.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's very nice.
Yeah, but you have to know it's safe grass that doesn't have any.
Around here, there's ticks.
Right, ticks, glass, dog pups.
Yeah.
Be mindful of where don't just touch the first grass you see. Make sure it's safe first.
Check it out a little bit.
Yeah, especially if you live in a more urban area, that can be more of an issue. So in addition to walking, we also like doing yoga. Usually we'll pick a YouTube video. Either we'll pick a gentle yoga or a beginner's yoga, because I am really not a flexible person at all.
Well, nobody starts out that way.
It's true.
Yeah.
But even when I was taking dance classes, I still had no flexibility.
I think a lot of people talk about yoga and flexibility, and sure, that's part of it, but I kind of feel like that's not entirely the point. The point isn't that you can tie yourself in a pretzel. The point is that you did the pose. And this is where form is really important. Mm-hmm. So if you can catch a free yoga class or attend a class or something at some point, instead of just getting your information off YouTube, which is admittedly not bad these days. Well, for some things. I think it's worth it. But just doing the pose gets the benefit, even if you can't go very deep into it. And again, yoga shouldn't hurt. If it hurts, you're doing it wrong. You might want to check your form, check how you're doing it, especially if you're doing anything involving your shoulders. Roll your shoulders back, etc.
Another thing that we really like to do is sit around a bonfire and stare into a fire. We all, as human beings, have a deep epigenetic memory of many, 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 many generations of staring into campfires.
What is it, like? Probably, I don't know, 2 million years of human evolution where we
Right.
had fire, or maybe 200,000 or something.
Mm-hmm. So if you live in an urban area and you can't have an open fire, one thing that you can do with some caution is light a candle. It's not quite the same, but it's a little sliver of that feeling.
I think it's how you look at it, because lighting a candle could be really relaxing. I mean, if you're are a candle person, you know?
Oh, and familiar scents is another really good thing that you can do to ground yourself, which is something that like a lot of people do with scented candles.
Back to candles, yeah. I gotta say, I love a pine scented candle because I'm from pine country, you know?
Yeah.
It's nice. It's comforting.
Another thing that you can do is reach for a grounding object. So for me, this is usually like smooth stones or crystals or a very soft, fluffy blanket. Or if I'm doing real bad, my nesting partner will just cover me in stuffed animals until I'm just buried in a pile of stuffed animals, and I'll fall asleep that way.
Okay, but what do you call the stuffed animals?
Oh, it's a schmile. Because it's a schmoop pile.
Right. You call them schmoops. That's so cute.
Okay.
But I love schmile. That's beautiful.
So, schmoops, for your dear listeners here, is lingo that has spread through my friend group that started with me and my nesting partner.
This is a Nadine thing.
It is. This is a Nadine thing. Where my nesting partner and I were rewatching Seinfeld. And there's one episode of Seinfeld where Jerry gets a girlfriend who insists on calling him Schmoopy. And they have these little play fights where he'll be like, "No, you're Schmoopy." And she's like, "No, you're Schmoopy." So one day I won 2 plush dogs from a claw machine. And I brought them home. And I started doing the "You're Schmoopy, no, you're Schmoopy" with the 2 dogs. And from that moment on, all stuffed animals are schmoops.
Oh my God, that's adorable.
Also, all regular animals are schmoops. And also, all people are schmoops. However, some people and some animals are danger schmoops.
Oh my God.
Like, for example, a danger noodle.
Yeah, snake. Danger noodle. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, snake. Oh, snake.
I have to make, like, the Schmoopland TikTok.
Oh,
Just, like,
I would look at that. I'm not a TikTok person, but hypothetically.
It would be a lot of puppetry involved, and a lot of silliness. Well, that's on the goals.
Are puppets schmoops?
Oh, of course.
Are they like a special schmoop?
No, they're just a schmoop.
Just a schmoop.
Because they're still a schmoop even if they're not on your hand. You can just, like, animate them a little bit better. But you can animate any, like, stuffed animal schmoop. Like, you just got to move their head and arms around a little bit.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I love this.
It is painfully cute. I will admit that.
This is a thing I love about you.
It's very, very wholesome. The authentic life that I have built for myself is remarkably wholesome. It's like, I really love it.
I love that.
There's a lot of softness and joy to it. And it's really wild to experience that in the midst of all this fascism. Like, the juxtaposition is hard to hold sometimes. I feel like it contributes to my bipolar disorder because the high is amazing and the low is oh fucking Christ, like,
fuck yeah.
It's a wavelength, you know. The height and the crest and the trough are equal in opposites. Some other things that we do to self-regulate are having little treats when we can. Especially if, like, you just did something that was really challenging, that you really built up in your head, that you knew was going to be problematic, and like the kind of thing where, like, you do it and a weight is lifted off your chest, you know. Mm-hmm. That's a great time for a little treat. And it's also positive reinforcement for yourself. Because while you're trying to climb the wall of awful to get the task done or the phone call made or the appointment made or whatever you need to do, right? You know that when you're done, you're going to reward yourself with a little treat. And that makes it just a little bit easier to do the hard thing.
There's a little dopamine at the end of it.
Yeah. You gotta hack that dopamine system, fam. It's important. You know, our brain chemicals are a very important part of how we self-regulate. So, like, understanding how to, you know, for example, like the breathing exercise, like, releases, like, more calm Oxytocin, right. Also, we'll get back to oxytocin when we talk about co-regulation. We'll put a pin in that for a moment.
Ooh.
Another thing that we like to do as part of our self-care is to read. But this isn't something that you can do like if you're gearing up to, like, if you're feeling bad.
Yeah, I have to separate myself from it and change my headspace before I can read, but I do really enjoy it.
It's great, for self-improvement. It's great for reflecting on your own life and the story that you're living all day long and relating to other people's stories.
And you can pick anything to read. And like, there's no judgment.
Yeah, read comics.
Right. Well, as an artist, like, I read a lot of graphic novels. I really like independent graphic novels, especially queer, femme protagonists, that kind of thing. But, okay, I'm going to segue really quick. But I'm going to talk about one of my favorite books I've ever read. Graphic novel written by Tilly Walden, who is a Texan. She's I think they're they now. I think I read something. I'm going to say they. I'm just going to roll with that. And if I'm not right, sorry. But Tilly Walden, amazing. Wow, what a graphic artist. She does these kind of like memoirs in graphic novel form that are really good. But going back to it, On a Sunbeam, so good. It's so good. It's a love story about two girls who met in a girls' school.
Oh, cool.
But it's a girls' school out in space.
Oh, nice.
And they're just like regular looking buildings, but all the space is space between them, which also, like, metaphorically works on a lot of levels, because it really lends a mood to the book. I'm gonna stop talking about this really soon, I swear. Anywho, so good. Check it out. Tilly Walden, amazing artist. Also, you may know her from Clementine, which was a spin-off of The Walking Dead.
Oh, cool.
That was like the latest one. So she's getting work to do, mainstream stuff now, but like, that's because her books were so good, I guess. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
sounds
sorry.
cool. No worries.
Stop tangenting.
We're transitioning now from self-regulation tasks or exercises to co-regulation exercises, but there are two that sort of fall in the middle, and that would be gardening and arts and crafts. These are things that you can do alone as self-regulation tools. However, when you do them with other people, it is way more fun and way less work. And way more inspiring, too.
Yeah. Well, I'd say we're doing a craft right now, making this podcast.
Sure. But we also host craft nights.
Yeah.
And I actually host a free space on Discord every Tuesday from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
You sure you want to put that on YouTube?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you still need the Discord link to get on, but you can message me for the Discord link if you'd like. You're more than welcome to join. It is an open space, and it is a free space.
Well, you heard it here, folks.
Yeah. And arts and crafts, can be all kinds of things. Like, it can be painting, it can be beading, it can be crocheting or knitting, it can be interior design, putting art up on your walls. It can be, I have a really great organization system to my closet that I really like, where I put everything in color gradient order so that I can find it later when I'm trying to match outfits.
That's also really satisfying, though.
It's so satisfying. It's one of the things where I'm like, oh, maybe I'm autistic, because it is really satisfying.
It is smart, though.
Yeah, because then I can find what I'm looking for, or
and do matching better.
Right, exactly. It really helps do the matching stuff a lot quicker, because I don't have the patience to paw through things trying to find. I'll just dress myself like a kindergartner and completely mismatch stuff if I can't find a good match.
Well, okay, so here's my next question on that. All of my clothes are in a laundry basket, and I just pull out of the laundry basket every day.
Sure.
And then it goes, back into this is a clean laundry basket, not an old laundry basket. And they go in all dirty laundry when I'm done. Just saying. But how do you coordinate anything out of that? Maybe that's why I look like this.
Well, you look like a cool camp counselor, so that's fine.
I'm okay with that. But also, where'd you find the drive to hang up your clothes and not leave them in a laundry basket?
So it's actually part of it is the satisfaction of the color gradient wardrobe.
So you get a dopamine hit from it.
I do get a dopamine hit from it. And you know, in fairness, like I too am the neurodiverse person that has a hard time. A lot of us have a hard time transitioning between tasks.
Oh yeah.
And
God,
then
fuck,
if
real.
there's a task that has multiple parts that you have to transition between, like laundry, you know, there are multiple steps to laundry where you have to transition between them at every point. You know, we'll get stuck sometimes. So like sometimes, you know, you put the wash in, you forget about it. Now it's the next day. Okay, now you have to restart the laundry machine and put more soap in and do it all over again.
Hopefully your clothes didn't get moldy.
Right, fingers crossed.
And you need to throw them out because they're not going to get better.
Yeah, well, usually that doesn't happen as long as you don't leave them in for several days. Right. But that happens too.
If you do that, please clean your thing.
Yeah, put some bleach in there, fam.
Yeah, because it's going to fuck up it's going to fuck up every load of laundry after that.
Right. Yeah, so the parts where it's really the most important to get the transition right is like between the washer and the dryer and out of the dryer into like a space to be used. Mm-hmm. That last step to transition to actually putting the clothes away is really hard for me, and it's a lot easier with the stuff that goes in the closet. That I get the satisfying dopamine hit from the color gradient. If it's the stuff that goes in the bins, well, I've got 3 piles of stuff that goes in bins that is not in bins. They're called doom piles. That is an acronym. It stands for didn't organize, only moved. And every ADHDer will immediately recognize.
Yeah, I have one. It's called the sad box.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not going to go into that, but it's a doom pile.
Yeah, doom pile. Didn't organize, only moved. One of the fun things about gardening and crafts is that there's this saying on the internet that millennials skipped their midlife crises and moved straight to granny hobbies.
Well, but granny hobbies are good, though.
I love that for us.
Before we move from this, I've got my jellyfish.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see it.
Okay. What I've learned from your laundry thing is, I think the lesson I'm taking away is, like we said, it's a dopamine hit.
Right.
You got to find your dopamine hit. It probably isn't going to be this laundry thing.
Right.
I mean, it could be. That's great. It could be like a million other things, right? I think what we need to do here is stop, think about, how we do things a little bit, and then try a whole bunch of different ways. If you're having a problem with something, maybe you're just approaching it wrong and you don't know how you individually need to approach it yet.
So
chase your dopamine.
So here's a great example. This works for doing stuff that you need to do, and also doing stuff that you want to do. But I think a really great example of like find your own way to do it, right?
Yeah.
Is let's say you really need to eat something and you want to make a sandwich, but you don't have the spoons to make a sandwich because that's a bunch of steps. You have to take out all the ingredients and take them out one at a time and all that stuff. Here's the thing. You can eat a deconstructed sandwich. You can pull 2 slices of bread out of the bread bag and eat it. And then pull a couple slices of meat out of the meat container, eat that, and a slice of cheese. Bam! You just ate a deconstructed sandwich, and you didn't have to overcome your wall of awful to actually assemble the sandwich.
I mean, it's going to wind up a sandwich one way or another. I guess.
Right. So, like, the idea is, like, really sort of try to divest from the way that you're told to do things, and get really curious about, like, well, what way is the most satisfying for me, or what way is the easiest for me?
I feel like that has been the last 3 years of my life. Is like, oh man, I'm really fucked up. But like, how do I need to do these things? And it has been very slow, and I'm nowhere near, I think, anywhere near complete. But yeah, it's been working for me.
Yeah, so moving into co-regulation, probably the most important thing is talking and listening, especially venting.
And knowing the distinction between venting and solutions.
Yeah. Ask, do you want help brainstorming solutions, or are you just trying to vent and process?
Yeah, and you can say that in your own way, but making that distinction is really kind of important, because sometimes people just want to tell you about the awful thing that happened to them, and the last thing they want to hear is solutions. They just want to tell you about this.
Right, yeah. Yeah, sharing space and holding space for people.
Yeah.
And, sharing experiences and feelings. There's a thing that a lot of neurodivergent people do. It's like a sort of a point of contention between neurodiverse people and neurotypical people, is that oftentimes when you tell a story to a neurodivergent person, they tell you a story that's similar, that is like a kind of like an experience that mirrors the experience you're talking about.
Back.
Right. Because we're trying to express to you, like, we understand what you're going through because we had this similar experience happen. Sometimes neurotypical people will hear that and feel like the other person is trying to, like, play the sad Olympics, or, you know what I mean, or one-upping or whatever. And that, I would say, obviously there are people like that, they've always got to one-up every story everybody tells.
But also knowing the difference is important here.
Right, yeah. Usually when people bring up a similar story, what they're saying is, like, I have my own experience with this that I'm going to tell you about now so that we can relate to each other on this level.
We can share some solidarity about it.
Yeah, precisely. Not being alone is pretty core. Especially at times where you feel like you might be in crisis or you might be unsafe. Even if that means just, like, reaching out to a counselor on BetterHelp, or reaching out to, like...
We don't want to plug BetterHelp.
Oh, sure. But, like...
But, the sentiment is there. Reaching out to a counselor, reaching out to a therapist.
We also, we don't love
a friend.
The hotlines. A lot of them are not great.
They're okay. Well, I mean, like, they're trying to do something that's very good, but they're way underfunded, way understaffed. They don't have the time to, like, really do this. And I mean, if you call into a suicide hotline, you could, some of them, get police called at your house. Not all of them are like this,
right?
But that's one thing they should be able to tell you up front.
Right, yeah. So, like, we acknowledge, what we're trying to say here is that we acknowledge that sometimes help is limited and you can't help but be alone. There are, other ways to feel some kind of connection. For some people, that might be like doing an MMORPG and meeting people through that sort of venue, or doing, like, a meetup group around maybe, like, an activity that you like.
Go into the local library. I mean, you can just sit there and read around other people, and if you sit there long enough and look for somebody who's lonely, you can have a whole ass conversation.
Yeah. Most libraries do also have different classes and experiences.
Different groups too.
Yeah, right. Different meeting groups. I know this is also another reason, we don't love 12-step programs either, but it is a reason that people get into 12-step programs, and a reason that people get into cults, is to not be alone. So, be very aware if the people that you're around to not be alone seem like they're trying to isolate you from making other connections or having other thoughts or experiences outside of the thing that you're sharing with them.
Yeah.
Another thing that you can do while you're not being alone, provided that you have that opportunity, is to play games with people. Especially, there are a lot of cooperative games that really, like, build a sense of, like, camaraderie and community.
Do you want to talk about the one we've been playing lately?
It's so fun. So we will rep this wonderful game called Nekojima, where you're building electrical poles, but the island that you're building them on is overrun with cats. So you have these little posts made of wood with like a string in between them, but you can't touch the string or you'll get electrocuted. And then sometimes you have to hang cats off of them. And the whole point is to not knock the structure down. And
It's like Jenga a little bit.
it is a little bit like Jenga and a little bit like Operation, but without that terrible buzzer. God, that buzzer haunts my childhood nightmares. Yeah. So there are lots of cool games that you can play with people.
And there's, there's a couple board game cafes here in the capital region. And I know that there's a bunch of board game places in Dallas where you can just go in and play some of the games off the wall.
There are also adult team sports. There's like disc golf. There's like floor hockey. There's roller derby stuff.
In Dallas, the DSA put on a socialist athletic league. Yeah, it was mostly kickball. There was some D&D and some board games too.
Sure, D&D is another great example of, the local gaming store in your area might have open D&D nights or open nights to play Magic the Gathering. There are lots of different ways in the community that you live in to try and reach out and meet people.
And not all of them cost money.
Right.
Too.
I mean, a lot of them do.
I mean, if you have money, that'll help you. And we all know that. But
right.
Like I said, there are board game cafes where you can just play the games.
Yeah. Another thing that's really helpful in terms of co-regulation is touch.
Actually, I'm going to go back one sec.
Sure.
Libraries, public libraries have board games sometimes. And you can just check out a board game and play it.
Yep. Yeah. That's a really great point.
For free.
The library is awesome and usually a really great hub for resources. Like, our local library has a tool library for people that are trying to do like some yard work or maintenance on their property.
You can check out a drill.
Yeah, right. Right. You
can check out a lawnmower too, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Things that people might not be able to afford but might need to use on occasion.
I think a lot of people our age, and I'm going to say I'm still young and hip and trendy, I think a lot of people our age are really getting into their local library.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely true.
I think that's more true than probably the Gen X and the boomers right now.
Sure. I mean, a lot of people our age also have children, and libraries tend to be a really great hub for resources for children as well. Like
they were when I was a kid.
They were when I was a kid as well. I spent a ton of time in the library as a kid.
Same. And they have comic books.
And when I first started my spiritual journey, all of the information that I was able to receive about different cultures and religions was all stuff that I checked out of the library. Books about Buddhism, books about Taoism, books about Wicca and neo-paganism. Like, there was a whole world of information that I was able to access through the library that ultimately led me on this life path to exactly where I am right now.
All thanks to the books at your local library. I feel like we're on a Reading Rainbow, like the end when they're like, go check out the local library, kids.
I loved Reading Rainbow. The library is great. If libraries didn't exist and someone tried to propose them today,
they'd never
never happen. They would be a socialist plot that was out to destroy your
socialist plot, actually.
Right.
That's where we got most of the public libraries about 100 years ago.
Yeah, well, kind of. I mean, a lot of libraries and museums also came from rich people saying, maybe if I put my name on this public work that people will think better of me.
But why libraries? Right? They didn't come up with that idea. People were doing it.
Right.
And they decided to try to co-opt that a bit. Yeah.
So, libraries rock.
Libraries rock.
Another really great thing for co-regulation is touch. And this can be, you know, a touch on the hand, a light massage. Sometimes someone might have an itch, but most importantly, hugs. And we put a pin in oxytocin a little while ago when we were talking about self-regulation.
We get to take the pin out.
Well, we get to take the pin out. I believe it takes about 10 seconds of a hug for your brain to release oxytocin, but it most certainly does if the hug is long enough. So, like,
I've heard 7 seconds before. I'm not sure, like, what the exact number is.
Right, sure.
But
fact check us. If you know the exact number, write it in the comments.
I feel like it's probably, like, per person, you know.
Sure.
Like, individual.
But, like, around 10 seconds. It's a little awkward, but it feels amazing. And these are ways that, like, our nervous systems co-regulate together when you hug someone else. And I think that that's really important, especially after, you know, if someone's sharing something difficult, you know, they're grieving with you, or they're, you know, navigating trauma or PTSD with you. Really just holding each, like, you know, we're all supposed to hold each other, but, like, also literally holding each other.
Yeah.
And then co-regulation, another thing that you can do is sharing and mutual aid. If someone is stressing because they have a problem and you can help them solve that problem, then you are helping them co-regulate, and you are helping them, you know, emotionally regulate and mentally regulate. So these are ways, you know, that we decrease each other's stress and increase each other's safety and security.
I think you're good.
So all these different self-regulation and co-regulation tools, they can help you reduce anxiety and panic. They can help you manage PTSD symptoms. They can help you improve your emotional regulation, and they can help you increase your self-awareness, which are all great things. Both for your own personal, like, comfort and safety, but also for the stability and well-being of your community and your ability to fight back and resist against this regime and all of the horrors that have come with it.
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty good.
So, that's our news roundup. We had some bad news. We had some good news. We had a bunch of media that we talked about. We talked a little bit about self-care, and why it's important, and different things that you can do to support yourself and help support other people. So I think now it's time for our organization roundup.
Yeehaw!
As per usual, we love food not bombs.
Oh, they're just swell. They're the bee's knees.
They're one of the best organizations that exists in this country, and they do really important and good work in every community where they exist.
Yeah.
Feeding your neighbors is punk as fuck.
Everybody gotta eat.
It's true. Our local chapter of Food Not Bombs has a meal every Monday at 5 p.m. and a free store every third Saturday of the month.
There's one coming up pretty soon, I think.
There is, yes.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. I'm excited to check it out, see what I can see.
Right. I could use... No, I got pants.
I could use a toaster, but we'll see if I get lucky.
You know, I could use a skirt. I don't have a lot of skirts these days. I have a few, and I really like them, but I could use more.
Sure.
Like a reasonable amount. What else we got?
We have a day of protest coming up on July 17th.
That's like 4 days from now.
It is so by the time you're hearing this, dear reader, that day of protest will have already happened, and we'll find out if it was successful or a flop.
Yeah, and then there'll be another one after that. Keep your eyes open.
Yeah, they're going to keep happening until it becomes such a police state that protest is impossible.
Or things get better.
Or things get better, right?
Yeah.
I also feel like the more the police crack down on protests, the more that's going to rile people up and make them want to participate.
It makes me want to do it harder.
Yeah. Sort of like the Trump protesting too much when it comes to these Epstein files.
It's the Streisand effect. Absolutely.
It's the Streisand effect, right? Exactly. Where like when you tell someone not to do something or that's not allowed or don't look at that or don't talk about this, then all that happens is people do it more.
Yup.
Yeah.
Don't talk about this.
It's actually, so my parents kind of had this figured out in a certain way where starting when I was like 10, if I wanted a little glass of wine, I was allowed to have one. That was totally fine. So when I got to college, everyone around me was going full bananas because it was the first time they'd ever had access to alcohol. But for me, it was old hat. I was like, yeah, so what? Okay, I'll have one and I'm good. And I definitely feel like they had realized, that the prohibition is part of what makes people want to do it more.
Yeah.
Right. So the Streisand
because it gets perceived
effect.
as cool.
Right. Yeah. Edgy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Precisely. Keep an ear to the ground for what's going on with 5051, Indivisibles, and the No Kings movement. There are some decent criticisms of these movements, but at the very least, it's a really good way to meet your neighbors that agree with you.
Yeah. And also, you're not going to get involved with the next thing if you don't get involved with something.
Right. If enough people don't get involved, there won't, well, not that there won't be a next thing, but it'll be harder to find and more underground. Yeah. So, if that's your speed, that's great. If that's not your speed, we're not here to tell you what form your resistance should take.
Right. Figure out your own thing. Like we were just saying. You got to figure it out for yourself.
Yeah, and really tap into your passion, tap into your dopamine.
Yes.
That's part of what KT and I are doing by making this podcast in the first place, is we're tapping into our passion to add our voices to the conversation about what's going on right now in our country and in the world for all of us vulnerable freaks and also the rest of us. Like we're all in this storm together.
Yeah, we're just in different boats.
Yep. We also love the Democratic Socialists of America.
They're pretty good. I am going back to Texas for a few days. It's going to be a whole thing, but I really hope to see my comrades from the DSA and DFW.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do really awesome work on behalf of tenants, on behalf of immigrants, on behalf of all people that are vulnerable in this system to exploitation. And I think that is pretty neat. It's also the largest organization of socialists, which makes it its own interesting thing in a post-McCarthy America.
Yeah. Well, and they have actual candidates. Mamdani.
Yeah, Mamdani.
AOC.
Yep.
A third thing off the top of my head, but you get my point.
Right.
And the DSA is not, perfect or as an organization.
Listen.
But it's pretty good.
Listen. If your organization has more than 10 people in it, it's not going to be perfect and there's going to be drama. The most important thing is not just, caving into that, but trying to, have safe spaces and conflict resolution and to address conflicts as they come up and try to all come to a better understanding of each other so that, these communities can be solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a process and you can be involved in it.
Mm-hmm. Precisely. Well, folks, that's all the time we have for tonight. We've been coming at you live from the Sapphic Garden Porch Studio. This is Reverend Nadine Morsch, interfaith minister.
And Dyke in a Dyke House, KT Sunshine.
And remember, us freaks gotta stick together.